Have you ever read a Bible verse so many times that the words just stopped landing? You know Philippians 4:6-7. You've probably quoted it, but anxiety is still there, which means most of us have been reading this verse without actually doing what it says. By the end of this, you won't just know it, you'll know exactly how to use it the moment fear hits. Now, you've quoted this verse before, maybe in a moment of panic, maybe just hoping something would click. But here is what most people miss. Philippians 4:6 is not a gentle suggestion. It is a prescription. And like any prescription, skipping a step means it doesn't work. Read it slowly. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. 3 movements: prayer, petition, thanksgiving. Most of us do the first 2 without hesitation. We bring the problem, we ask for help. But that third word, thanksgiving, that is the hinge the whole verse turns on, and it is the one we quietly skip. In the original Greek, that word is Eucharistia. It means a deliberate, conscious expression of gratitude, not a feeling you wait for, but an act you choose. And here's why it matters so much. Anxiety and thanksgiving cannot occupy your mind at the same time. Anxiety insists nothing is okay. Thanksgiving insists God is already at work. Those two cannot coexist. That is not a metaphor. That is the actual mechanism the verse is describing. Think of it this way. Anxiety is like static on a radio signal. The station is broadcasting, God is speaking, but all you hear is noise. Thanksgiving is the tuning dial. The moment you turn it, the frequency clears. Now you might feel resistance to that. Thanking God before the situation resolves can feel wrong, even dishonest, like you're pretending everything is fine when it clearly isn't. Stay with me, because that discomfort is exactly where this verse does its deepest work. The prescription doesn't ask you to feel grateful, it asks you to choose it. And that choice is what opens the door to what verse 7 promises. If you have ever read this verse and still felt anxious, comment the word peace below, because what comes next is for you. When you're anxious, is thanksgiving the step you naturally skip, or do you actually pause and choose it before the problem is resolved? Drop your answer in the comments below. Now let's look at exactly what verse 7 promises when you do. Now you know what the prescription requires. But here is the part that changes how you read verse 7 forever. Philippians 4:7 says this, "And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." That word guard is not decorative language. In the original Greek, it is the word phroura. It describes a military garrison, soldiers stationed at a city gate, posted there specifically to keep enemies out. Think about what that means. In Paul's world, a garrisoned city did not fight the enemy in the streets. The soldiers stopped the threat at the gate before it ever got inside. That is exactly what this verse is describing. The peace God gives is not a feeling you have to manufacture. It is a guard he stations. Anxiety does not get fought from the inside, it gets blocked at the gate. This is why the verse says the peace surpasses understanding. You are not reasoning your way to calm. You are not talking yourself down. You are receiving a guard you did not post yourself. That is why it works, even when the situation hasn't changed. The guard is not waiting for the problem to resolve. The guard is already at the gate. And now the open loop from where we started closes. You have read this verse 100 times. The reason it hasn't silenced your anxiety is not that the verse doesn't work. It is that the gate only opens when you run the full sequence, prayer, petition, and that thanksgiving step you've been skipping. Without thanksgiving, the gate stays open. Anxiety walks right through. So here is what this looks like in your actual life. The next time anxiety rises, do not just quote this verse. Run the sequence. Name the specific thing you are anxious about. Bring it to God in prayer. Then, before you feel better, before anything changes, thank Him for already being in it. Not because everything is fine, because He is. Watch what happens to the static. You asked at the start whether a single verse could silence anxiety. It can, but only when you actually do what it says, not just read it. Subscribe for more.